from WCIA 3 News.
A minimum of a $250 fine.
Could you soon face a fine if you refuse to wear a mask? Why Decatur took that controversial question off the table for now.
A pandemic proved no match for these Girl Scouts, who pitched in to buy up a big stash of Girl Scout cookies.
So we want something special for everybody.
Graduation ceremonies are back on, but under strict social distancing rules. Why the state reversed course after banning in-person graduations.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Required the public to wear facial coverings.
This weekend started Governor Pritzker's third consecutive executive order, and this one has a new requirement. The governor and public health officials warning everyone to wear a face mask when they go out in public. Good evening. I'm Mark Maxwell.
And I'm Jen Lask. Now, not everyone feels this new requirement is fair. Some people think the state should allow each person to make their own choice. WCIA 3's Jamie Mays has more.
Governor Pritzker's newest stay-at-home order requires you to wear a face mask or covering when you can't maintain 6 feet of social distance. While some people stocked up,
I have a few in the truck and a couple bandanas.
Not everyone is so sure that wearing them should be required.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Pritzker says it's up to cities and villages to figure out if or how they will penalize people for not wearing them. Cities like Decatur considered charging a fine for someone caught without one. The city council nearly voted on a rule to require the public to wear facial coverings.
One of the remedies for being in violation of this ordinance was a minimum of a $250 fine.
If approved, those fines could have reached up to $500, and people had some strong feelings about the penalties.
I don't agree with it.
Oh, I think that's crazy.
And there were so many complaints about the penalty for not wearing a face mask when you leave places where you're alone and then go out into public spaces. They got rid of the agenda item and decided not to discuss it at the next city council meeting.
To me, it's a violation of your rights. You should be able to go and have a right to decide if you want to wear something.
If the controversial idea comes up again, city officials plan to look for ways to protect the public and provide masks before moving to penalize people.
Key questions cities should be asking is how can we help the citizens?
Now, another sheriff in central Illinois says he won't enforce Governor Pritzker's stay-at-home order. Tazewell County Sheriff Jeff Lauer says he and his deputies won't write tickets for people who don't follow the order, saying the order doesn't give him or his deputies authority to act.
It's not for me to tell anybody else what to do there, but on the flip side, it's not for them to tell me how to run my jurisdiction.
This comes a day after leaders in East Peoria said police wouldn't enforce the order there. Lauer says his deputies will continue to enforce the law, but only when what he considers is a real crime is being committed.
Last week, we told you graduations were off in person. Now, the State Board of Education has reversed course. It will now allow for some modified graduation ceremonies. The State Board of Education still strongly encouraging virtual graduation in 2020, but did offer alternatives for any local school district that prefers a drive-in or a drive-through setup instead. New rules will allow families to watch from their cars as students exit one by one, donning their caps and gowns, much like you might see in a drive-in movie theater. Smaller schools may be able to hold drive-through ceremonies. Schools can also host individual ceremonies for each student on the premises, but they have to avoid mass gatherings on school property. The school could also bring the graduation right to your front door, so long as people keep 6 feet apart while they take pictures and pass out diplomas. At his press conference today, Governor Pritzker empathized with seniors who saw their last year interrupted.
Look, I'm as concerned as anybody to make sure that people have at least something to celebrate their graduations. I mean, it's a sad fact that many seniors, high school and college seniors, aren't going to be able to have a usual graduation. So we want something special for everybody.
Most schools are working now to send diplomas and caps and gowns out to students in the mail so they can come dressed and ready with everything they need in hand. These new guidelines just out do not allow for anyone to hand out a diploma directly or to handshake during these modified graduation ceremonies. Trump administration officials today again blamed China for the global pandemic. At the same time, mixed messages on how and how fast to get the economy going again. Nicole Killian is at the White House.
President Trump returned to the White House after a working weekend at Camp David. With more states poised to reopen this week, the coordinator of the White House coronavirus response urged caution and chastised anti-lockdown protesters for not social distancing, like these in Michigan.
It's devastatingly worrisome to me personally, because if they go home and infect their grandmother or their grandfather who has a comorbid condition and they have a serious or an unfortunate outcome, they will feel guilty for the rest of our lives.
As the Senate heads back to work Monday, the White House now indicates it may hold off on a fourth stimulus until it sees the results of previous relief efforts.
There may well be additional legislation. There's kind of a pause period right now.
Governors who have asked for around $500 billion in aid are worried.
The president, vice president, and Secretary Mnuchin have already committed to it multiple times, and now, the message seems to be changing.
This is about firefighters, police, EMS, teachers at the point of attack.
But treatment for some of the most seriously ill coronavirus patients is expected soon after the FDA's emergency approval of the experimental drug remdesivir.
We intend to get that to patients in the early part of this next week.
As U.S. intelligence officials probe the source of the virus, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pointed the finger at a China lab.
There's enormous evidence that that's where this began.
The secretary said he supports an intelligence report that the virus was not man-made. Last week, the president said he's also seen evidence that the virus originated from that Wuhan lab, but did not elaborate. And late in the day, he again defended his travel ban on China. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Public health officials continue to monitor nursing homes and long-term care centers for potential outbreaks. And now, Macon County health officials say a man in his 70s who was a resident at Villa Clara Post-Acute Rehab Center has died, the first death at that center. Overall, there have been 122 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Macon County and 13 deaths overall. Now, a heads up for drivers in Champaign County. Construction on 2 bridges over I-74 begins tonight. Tonight and tomorrow night, crews will install a protective shield on the High Cross Road bridge over I-74. That's going to require a lane closure on the interstate, and the bridge will close for about a month starting Thursday. And over at the St. Joseph interchange, crews will install a protective shield on the County Road 12 bridge on Wednesday and Thursday night, also closing a lane of the interstate for that. The bridge will be limited to 1 lane of traffic, and the projects could take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to wrap up. Well, nature lovers will have more space to enjoy the outdoors. Allerton Park closed on March 16th because of the coronavirus, and since then, they opened part of the state back up. Starting tomorrow, the entire park will reopen. But some areas will be closed to the public, including the mansion, picnic tables, and visitor center. They're asking for people to take precautions, especially in the more popular areas of the park.
Make sure that people are keeping their distance from each other, because it's usually can get pretty crowded, and so we'll just be extra mindful and ask people, of course, to wear face masks and to keep their distance, and hope that park users can be responsible.
The park will open every day from 8 a.m. until sunset.
One man is dead after a plane crash in Macon County. It happened near Zelmer Memorial Air Park in Palmyra yesterday. Officials say 61-year-old Timothy Nelson from Carlinville was the only person on board. He was pronounced dead at the scene. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. Still no word yet on the cause of that crash. The Macon County Sheriff's Office and the FAA are investigating. Movie night is back on this Friday night at the Route 66 Drive-In Movie Theater in Springfield, but it could feel a bit different than ones you've been to before. The theater had closed down due to the concerns over the coronavirus, but now its owners post on Facebook saying they got the green light to return under new safety protocols. Yes, you'll have to stay in your car, and cars have to leave an empty spot in between them in the parking lot. And instead of walking up to the counter, you'll buy your popcorn and concessions on an app, and you'll get your tickets online instead of there at the gate.
And a U of I Film Festival is now showcasing students' work online because of the pandemic. Illini Fest student film organized the festival, with each film sharing a day in the life of students. Students can submit films from all genres, and this year, organizers even added a TikTok category and a day in quarantine home video category.
It seemed like a challenge at first, trying to figure out how to rework everything into a live stream and still being able to get submissions, because we thought it would be harder with a lot of the production classes being canceled halfway through the semester. But I'm so happy with it, and I feel like all of us were able to put together our own teamwork to make it possible.
Awards will be given to the film with the most votes, and students will be able to vote online for their favorite films starting tomorrow.
A lot of people wait all year around looking forward to Girl Scout cookie season. And, of course, a Girl Scout's top goal is to sell out their whole stash. Well, this year, COVID-19 presented a really big obstacle, but the troops here in Champaign County, they were still able to sell out their entire inventory. WCIA 3's Karina Rubio has this story.
This was our first year, so we didn't really know what to expect.
Alyssa Robinson is new to her Girl Scout troop, but the pandemic cut her first cookie selling season short.
I didn't get to do all the booths. I was really excited to do those, but then I was really disappointed.
And social distancing meant she couldn't go door to door, which means Robinson was left with a bunch of boxes.
At the end, when you're all done with cookies, whatever you don't sell, you have to pay back.
But Robinson's troop got an unexpected customer. Jimmy John's founder, Jimmy John Leotaw, bought all the leftover boxes, which was about 3,500.
I was confused because he was buying every single cookie in Champaign County.
Robinson says she wondered how one person can eat so many cookies, but he donated them all to the Eastern Illinois Food Bank, and that meant the Girl Scout families didn't have to worry about paying for unsold boxes.
Everybody's worried about finances right now with everything going on, so then when you're thinking about, okay, $5 a box times however many boxes you have, it's not like it's thousands of dollars, but every little bit counts right now when everybody's kind of pinching pennies. The general consensus across our troop was just like a sigh of relief.
In Champaign County, Karina Rubio, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Eastern Illinois Food Bank says that big donation meant a lot, not just to the Girl Scouts, but also to the people who rely on that food pantry there. Now they too can have those Girl Scout cookies. In case you're wondering, 3,500 boxes, that sets you back about 17 grand. All right, we're looking ahead now at our weather. Amelia's up next. It's been pretty warm here today. A little bit of rain, but it's pretty nice.
It has been warm this week, and I really hope you took advantage of it, because that is all about to change. We're going to be seeing a very chilly week ahead with below average temperatures, and the rain is going to be returning. All the details right after this.
This portion